And we're joined on the phone today by actor Brian O'Halloran. You probably remember him from Clerks and Mallrats, a lot of the Kevin Smith films over the years, and he's going to be at GalaxyCon coming up this weekend here in Minneapolis. Hey, Brian, how's it going?
Good, and yourself?
I'm excellent. Thank you so much for joining me.
Not at all.
Well, first, Brian, you're at GalaxyCon in Minneapolis here this weekend. I wanted to ask you, how it is for you at these kind of conventions. It must be cool to have a chance to meet all your fans over the years.
You know what? It's really great about these type of Comic-Cons is that you do get to meet some of the great fans that enjoy what you do, but also I'm a big fan of the other guests as well, so I actually have time to nerd out and fanboy out of other guests as well.
Yeah, especially at this one. I know, William Shatner, and, there's a lot of people at this one, so that's cool that you're able to kind of become a fan yourself of all these other people there.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't find somebody that you're a fan of their work or even just their comic book or even wrestlers, I mean, there's tons and tons of different artists of so many genres that it's a great place to just catch up. I mean, if you're fans of the original Star Trek, I mean, you have Shatner, you have Koenig, you have, Nichelle Nichols. I mean, if you're a Doctor Who fan, you have Alex Kingston. If you're a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, you have Michael Rooker along with Sean Gunn, tons of people.
And I know you've done a lot of these conventions over the years, so are you getting to the point now where you're kind of friendly with these people? Is William Shatner just kind of like your buddy that you hang out with now?
Not so much Shatner. Shatner, there's some fun times where, you see him at panels especially, and he has incredible stories to tell that you get to hear the stories again and again. Michael Rooker, Sean Gunn, these are guys that I've hung out with quite a bit that are a lot of fun to see and hang out with. And when you see them again, it is kind of weird to say, if you had asked me 20 years ago, hey, you actually know, or you've met, Shatner, or you've met a Michael Rooker or Sean Gunn, I'd be like, get out of here. You're lying. But yeah, it's kind of nice to have these type of relationships over the years.
Awesome. And again, GalaxyCon is in Minneapolis here this weekend. I know you've got photo ops and autographs, and as I mentioned, I know you've done a lot of conventions over the years. Are you having any surprises, I guess, or maybe overly passionate fans these days when you're going to these things?
It's more of the fans. I've been very fortunate to be a part of the film. A couple of films that are cult classics, the Viewers universe that Kevin Smith has created. And so you have the fans who are always asking about, are we going to see another Clerks, or are we going to get a Clerks cartoon and things like that? And these are the type of questions I get to answer for people in person. I mean, we also have Joey Lauren Adams here this weekend, who's well known from the Chasing Amy movie, but also Mallrats that we shot up here in Minnesota as well. So it's nice to come back up here to the Minneapolis, Minnesota, St. Paul area because we shot the Mallrats series over at the Eden Prairie Mall in Minnetonka. So it'll be funny to see people come by who said, hey, man, I was an extra in that movie. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, have you been back much this way since filming Mallrats?
I haven't, to be honest with you, but it's nice to come up here and see it and hopefully get a chance maybe on my downtime to get out to that mall just to have a kind of a memory reminiscent trip.
Yeah, it seems like just the mall, the idea of a mall in general kind of going away these days, but the mall is still there, obviously, and I wanted to ask you about, your memories of filming here in Minnesota. Did you get to do much outside of being at the mall?
There was a few things that we got to do. We got to go to First Avenue. We were seeing a new band at the time that had a weird name called the Goo Goo Dolls, and I was like, what kind of band is the Goo Goo Dolls? We also went to Mall of America once, so we didn't have much downtime during filming, but when we did, we Jersey people, we have to go see a mall.
Well, of course, Mallrats and Clerks, and the movies you did early on with Kevin Smith, all-time classics now, but, they kind of became classics over time, I guess. How is that for you as an actor? Is it as satisfying for a film to become kind of a classic over time versus, being a huge hit at the box office?
That's just a testament to the nature of Kevin's writing that it still resonates with a lot of people. I mean, even right now, as him and Jason Mewes are on the road with the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot movie, getting to see the fan reaction, bringing the movies to these fans directly and getting to talk with them. It's been really great that now people, when we were in our 20s, when we made the first few films, are now in our 40s and 50s and have their own kids who are now in their 20s, are now being shown these movies and being passed along these movies, so to speak. It's great to see that people do respect the movies and enjoy them just as we did when we made them back in the early 90s.
And I imagine when the same group of guys and the crew are working together on multiple projects, you guys probably fall into a bit of a rhythm, and maybe it's less work, more chemistry for some of these films if it's all the same kind of people in there.
Yeah, a lot of it is that. A lot of good filmmakers will do that. They work with the same people again and again. When you see people like Scorsese working with the same people, or you see these people like Spike Lee working with the same type of cast and crew, the chemistry is there. There's no need to get to know someone or get used to their habits. And I kind of compare it to going to a summer camp every summer. If you went to a summer camp and you had kids from all different schools, but for that 1 4-week period, you were all in camp, all having fun, and at the end of camp, you're all going back to your own separate schools. So this is the same type of, atmosphere when it's working with Kevin Smith especially. It is a fun time working on these projects again and again and again. When we just shot the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot down in New Orleans, it was during Mardi Gras, so you had our fun atmosphere already and put us in New Orleans. It was even more of a blast.
Well, and Brian, you mentioned the fans coming up and asking you if there's going to be a new this and a new that. I did hear news, maybe Clerks III is that in production, or will it be going into production soon?
Well, Kevin is writing a new script of Clerks III. The previous version of the Clerks III script went really dark that he wrote like about 5 years ago. So he's doing a lighter version of it, a much more funnier, traditional version of a Clerks. Once we get that script done and we all read it and take a look at it, we'll see where we go from there. But as of right now, Kevin has announced it. I know Jeff Anderson is on board to look at it as well. So if we can get that done, hopefully we can start shooting by next year.
Excellent. And Brian, I know you've done a lot of work on stage and other acting over the years. Is there something coming up for you or another project we should be looking out here for soon?
I don't have anything on the theater end of things. I do have a couple of films that are making its film festival circuit right now. A film called Right Before Your Eyes is a movie about a guy struggling with alcoholism and finds recovery. So you can go to beforeyoureyes.com to see more about that. And I have 2 other films, another one that I just finished with Robert Patrick called Frat Haze, about a young man who has a hazing incident at a college. So that'll be coming out next year. That'll be in post-production now. And we're in talks with 2 other films. So if you want to follow what I'm doing, the best way is to follow my Twitter or Instagram. It's Brian C. O'Halloran. Or on Facebook, it's the Brian C. O'Halloran, C standing for Christopher.
Awesome, man. I'm a big fan, Brian, and I'm looking forward to GalaxyCon in Minneapolis this weekend. Glad to have you back here in Minnesota.
It's good to be back. Thanks again, Dustin. Take care.
And again, that was actor Brian O'Halloran from Mallrats, Clerks, Chasing Amy, a lot of other stuff over the years, and he is in Minnesota here for GalaxyCon in Minneapolis this weekend.